It's been 6 months since I bought a Google Pixel Watch 2, and while it's absolutely an improvement over the Pixel Watch 1 in pretty much every way, there are still a lot of frustrating things with this watch that still feel unpolished. But first, let's talk about the good stuff, the first of which is battery life. I found it to be excellent. It lasts me all day, and more importantly, it charges way faster compared to the original. I can actually get away with just charging this watch when I'm in the shower in the morning, and then again at night when I'm getting ready for bed and or showering after another workout. And yes, this is the battery life I've experienced with the watches always on display being set to on. Another highlight of this watch has been sleep tracking. Fitbit, which Google acquired a few years back, has had decent sleep tracking in my experience. When you look at your REM, deep, and light sleep, it looks closer to the sleep cycles that you'd expect, although sleep trackers in general aren't 100% accurate, so just keep that in mind. One big downside with this watch is some of the analysis features are hidden behind the Fitbit paywall, like your sleep score details, sleep schedule variability, and your daily readiness level, which takes your sleep quality and fitness activities into account to provide you a readiness score. And I find that one in particular pretty useful for planning how intense my workouts should be. It's just such a bummer some of these features are hidden behind a paywall, and it feels a bit anti-Google, to be honest, especially for the data stuff, but yeah, I don't think Fitbit Premium generally is worth the monthly cost. The next standout feature of the Pixel Watch 2 is its overall design, which keeps most of what the Pixel Watch 1 delivered. It's one of the prettiest smartwatch designs out there, and I do think Google really nailed the reflections and pebble-inspired design to make the screen look bezel-less in most scenarios. The sport band is comfortable and easy to put on and take off. Once you get used to taking the bands on and off, it's easy to do so quickly. I do wish Google made a larger size though, because this smartwatch, it's just going to look small on some people's wrists. Also, Google is pretty limited when it comes to the materials you can choose from or different display options like Apple famously has with their watches. Another thing I've really liked about the watch is fitness tracking. Google makes it really easy to swipe over to a tile and start a walk or running workout. Another thing I've liked about this watch is that Google has watch faces that allow you to add many complications. This makes it easy to get different kinds of information at a glance, like the weather, temperature outside, etc., as well as shortcuts to certain apps. The last standout feature of this watch has been the Google Assistant. It's pretty useful for setting things like calendar events and timers and is decently fast. I do wish Google would change how you actually trigger the Google Assistant, or at least give you the option to switch it from pressing and holding down the side button to pressing and holding down the digital crown. I find it to be just a more natural place to press and hold on a watch. Alright, now let's move on to some of the annoyances and downsides I found with the Pixel Watch 2. The first of which is media controls when you're playing a podcast on your phone. One of the things I've primarily used smartwatches for as the years have gone on is media controls, and the Pixel Watch 2 is very basic in this category. When you play media off your phone from apps like Spotify, YouTube Music, or Pocket Casts, the Now Playing icon at the bottom of the watch will appear. When you tap on it, the Now Playing controls will then pop up. Alternatively, you can enable the media player to auto-launch when you play media from your phone in the watch's settings. That all sounds good, right? Wrong. Where this feature really falls down is when you play a podcast. The Now Playing screen doesn't automatically switch to showing the skip forward a few seconds and skip back a few seconds buttons like the Now Playing widget on my Pixel 8 Pro does, which is kind of infuriating. I've also tried this with Spotify, Pocket Cast, YouTube Music. None of them, when you play a podcast on them, will switch over the Now Playing controls. And another annoyance I've really had that's related to podcasts is when you want to use a companion app for a media app on your phone on the watch. When you play something from YouTube Music or Pocket Casts on your phone and open up their watch companion apps, they don't sync with what's playing on your phone, which is very different from how Pocket Casts implemented their watchOS app, for example. watchOS feels like a frankly much more mature and better OS for a smartwatch at this point in this specific category, and that's one of the main reasons I've not been able to use the Pixel Watch 2 on my primary wrist for a smartwatch. And if you've run into similar frustrations with media controls and the Pixel Watch, definitely let me know down in the comments. Moving on, one thing I'd really like to see with the Pixel Watch and other smartwatches is to embrace a more user-serviceable design, at least for things like replacing the battery. Another small annoyance I've run into with this watch is while I really like that Google implemented a feature where your watch can unlock your phone, I kinda wish the inverse were also true. Half the time I'll strap on the watch, open up my phone, and then I'll forget to unlock the watch itself. Now, the last downside I've encountered with the Pixel Watch 2, and this is, I'm just gonna say it, round smartwatches for anything other than telling the time via a dial are just worse. The only reason some smartwatches are round is because that's the shape watches have been made for hundreds of years. But I'd argue smartwatches aren't even primarily used to just tell the time. You use them to see information and notifications, track fitness, play media, and a lot more. And it's easier to fit more information into the screen size of the square Fitbit watches and the Apple Watch. The text doesn't get truncated and you can fit more information on the screen, and buttons can be larger. And I know people have feelings about this, so definitely let me know in the comments whether you disagree or agree with my take. Now let's move on to recommendations. Generally, yes, I do recommend the Pixel Watch 2, but let's talk a little bit more about who I recommend it for. Overall, I think the Pixel Watch 2 is a solid improvement over the Gen 1. I haven't encountered any weird instances of the back cover falling off, the battery life is better, it charges faster, and it keeps that nice polished aesthetic. But why would you go for it over something like the Galaxy Watch 6 Classic? A few reasons. If you were already a Fitbit user, you like the design and aesthetic better than Samsung's, you're fine with a smaller sized smartwatch, or you just want a Pixel Watch to match your Pixel phone. And if you want to see my thoughts, by the way, on the Pixel 8 Pro, I did a 6 months later review of it. You can get to that by clicking here. And if you want to see more of my thoughts on other Google products and comparison videos like how the 8 Pro stacks against the S24 Ultra, you can get to all of those videos by clicking on the playlist here. If you liked this video and found it helpful, give it a thumbs up below and don't forget to subscribe to the channel to see more reviews like this one. For 6 months later, I'm Josh Tedder. Thanks for watching.